Hello everyone, my name is Owen Godimer. I am the community manager at TechWell. I'm joined now by Robin Foster, a consultant at Coveiros. Robin, thanks for sitting down with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, so Robin and I are going to talk about an Agile Manifesto principle, and that principle reads, deliver working software frequently from a couple of weeks to a couple of months with a preference to the shorter time scale. Robin, do you want to give a basic explanation as to what this principle means?
Sure, so this means that instead of planning out an entire piece of software to perfection and taking a huge amount of time to deliver it, you're able to deliver incremental pieces of value and incremental functionality to these pieces of software. So you're not hung up waiting for the entire thing to be perfect, because nothing is ever perfect. It means that you're able to deliver value more frequently to your end users because you're doing it on a shorter time frame.
Right, and obviously delivering value more frequently is important. What are some other important factors as to why this principle is crucial to being agile?
Well, I mean, I think it kind of does come down to the fact that you are able to deliver more frequently. When you're able to do that, you're able to change direction in a literally agile way. Because if you deliver something, you get feedback on it on a faster time frame than, say, let's just say a year, faster than that. For whatever reason, the market doesn't like it anymore, just you made some bad assumptions, whatever it is, you're in a much better position to be able to fix that if you have that agility and that ability to pivot and release more frequently.
Yeah, and I think that's important too, and I think one of the big important things too, and you mentioned this, is if you wait the full year and build software, a lot of that software you built, the user might actually not want. If you're able to build short period to, deliver value in 2 weeks, for example, maybe as a traditional sprint, you get feedback from the client or the user, and you're able to build software on top of the software you just built 2 weeks ago, rather than waiting a full year for feedback. And I think that's super crucial to being able to build valuable software.
Well, in some ways, it's about checking your assumptions, right? You've made a year's worth of assumptions, or you've made 2 weeks worth of assumptions before you get feedback. And you don't always know what the user actually wants.
Right, and I think to that point, the user doesn't always know what the user wants.
Yeah.
So I think that's super important. When you have a new team working agilely who maybe traditionally worked in a way where they were delivering every 3, 6 months, maybe 12 months, what are some ways, some strategies you can take early on to encourage them and to get them to understand that delivering value more frequently might actually help them short term and in the long term?
I think, especially early on for teams who are new to it, a strong planning process is really important. And I think part of that is the explanation that, look, yes, right now, we've never done this before. We're going to take more time planning than you're used to, perhaps, and even more than we might in the future when we have an established cadence with this. But because we're doing that planning and we're able to break down your year-long, 3, 6 months, whatever process into discrete chunks of functionality, I think that helps. I think really once you have that first big win and you have actually released something on a time, whatever it is, hey, we changed the login button, we changed the interface, whatever it is. And once they've seen that roll out and they see how happy it makes, their client, their users, whoever, I think that is really the sell, is once you've planned out and you have that discrete chunk, the first few ones that start rolling through, I think it kind of becomes obvious. It's great.
Right. Have you, in your experience working as a consultant, seen any teams go through this process where they did transition to delivering more frequently, and how did that impact a team like that?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges with transitioning to that is that, so if you have a pilot team or it's not the whole organization transitioning at the same time, is that you can still be held up by other teams who don't work in that functionality. So you're trying to create or release a piece of functionality that is, for whatever reason, dependent on another team's yes, no, say so, whatever, some other team giving something to you, and because they aren't working on that agile methodology, that can get bogged down, and that can be frustrating. When I'm describing those incremental pieces of functionality and releasing them out, it's that's the principle, that's the ideal. That it's not always easy to transition to that because it is both a technical process and a cultural change when your organization is starting to transition to that. So I think really what you can do in that scenario, or what I have seen and what I have done and what ostensibly one could do, is focus on what is in your control. there are things that you can do without other teams that you can still do on that agile cadence.